This is Via Voices, the podcast that brings you insights from the champions of international education. I'm your host, Brooke Roberts, and together we'll uncover the stories behind impactful global learning experiences and the professionals who make them possible. What drives Dave Saben's work in international education and technology? Putting students at the center of everything he does.
What inspires me about international ed is what inspires me about everything in educational technology. Make a better world through the students we impact. For me, I'm always student-centric. I came out of college with a vigor and a passion to change our educational systems, and I've spent my last 23 years doing just that.
Dave is a CEO of Via TRM, and with experience building several edtech companies, he's passionate about using technology to make global experiences easier, smarter, and more student-friendly. Dave, welcome to the Via Voices podcast.
Thank you for having me, Brooke.
You are the Via Voice.
I might be one of many Via Voices.
Well, this is really exciting that we're doing this at AIEA. I know you came last year. Tell me a little bit about why you have wanted to come back to AIEA. Why is it an important organization?
I think it's a great opportunity to be connected with people from really all over the world that are trying to really advance the mission of international education. And for us, being really the cutting edge technology solution in the space, we feel we have to be here. Because for us, we can connect the world and make it closer with efficient and effective technology that really engages students and administrators alike. So we really have to be here with that voice. You're
relatively new to VIA. You've been there about 2 years as
Indeed.
CEO, but you've been working in ed tech almost your whole career. Tell me about a story or an interaction you had with a client or a prospective customer where you realized, wow, VIA is special.
Oh, lots of times. So one of the most important ones, I was talking to an institution that's in New Jersey. And almost their entire student population is first generation college students from economically impacted communities. And because our software is A, so efficient to use, and B, so cost effective, she was able to implement it across her whole institution. And it was amazing. Her participation rates went up significantly. And she told me so many stories about the kids that she was working with. And it just really hit me at home that the work that we do is so important because at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's about the students that we serve.
Yeah.
And that was one of hundreds of stories that we get every day about how we're impacting not only administrators, but students as well.
I've known VIA my whole career.
Yeah.
I knew Sam Martin well, one of the co-founders, she's great. And I remember even talking to her very early days when VIA was a wireframe on a whiteboard, talking about how most of the time in international ed, we're working with students once they've already made a decision. Basically, they're going and they are going to apply. And she, rightly so, and her team thought, what about all the students who are in the consideration phase? And they're just like, I don't know what's going on. How are they nurturing and supporting and educating those students on their options and what's available? And that's one of the things I love most about our product is that we help the whole life cycle of a student, like how they're going to interact with the Global Education Office. But as you know, that we got our start in global ed, in international ed, or in study abroad. But that's not what we do now. It's kind of a myth that that's what we do. Tell us about what VIA does today in 2025.
Yeah, so our goal is really to provide a complete one solution to every part of international education. So that includes, obviously, we started our time in study abroad, engaging students and helping them go overseas. But then as we started to bring that product to market, we started to understand that they also needed help being safe once they were overseas and make sure that we had efficient technology that was helping streamline that study abroad process with alerts and being able to communicate, which is our travel application. And then as we were iterating on that and always improving, we discovered that international education needed efficient technology as well and modern technology. So much of the technology, as you know, Brooke, that exists in the space is older than the students we serve.
Right.
So we have to you have to engage students on their terms. And that means with elegant technology that's easy for them to use. And so when we found that, we really created a complete ecosystem that serves the entire institution, whether it's education abroad, whether it's risk management, or whether it's international students and scholars. One place. And what that allows is really for provosts and for presidents of institutions to have a true understanding of their international education programs across the entire spectrum with one place to look at data and one place to trend data to really help optimize institutional reports.
Yeah. Well, and rely on the data you're getting.
Indeed. Indeed.
making sure that it's accurate in the moment. I think, specifically Via International, it's relatively new. It's the newer product. What I love about that particular product is, and I never even realized this was a pain point for ISSS, that they needed real-time syncs with the SEVIS system for if they're going to stay in compliance, if they're going to maintain, their eligibility to actually bring in F1, J1 students, that they needed real-time accurate data to protect themselves, to be able to serve these students. And tell me a little bit more about Via International, because I feel like that's the one most people are least familiar with.
Yeah.
And it's so cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
It is a fantastic application. So a couple things. So our Via International application really started thinking of the students first. One of the things that we noticed immediately when we started looking at the space is there wasn't a student portal that was elegantly designed for these kids coming here from overseas. Imagine that if you're a student coming from India or China, and your first interaction with the institution, once you've applied, is starting to look at your visa requirements, you don't have an application to understand where you are. Think about the stress and angst and anxiety that adds to that journey. So we really started there, building a beautiful portal for our students. And then we started really optimizing our workflows. And then at the end with true connectivity to SEVIS. So making sure that when folks are processing J1s and F1 visas, that it's connected to the Department of Homeland Security SEVIS system so that you can do work in one system that communicates back and forth. So you have real-time updates about how your students are doing to maintain your compliance. Because it's one thing once you bring students here, but then making sure in an ever-changing landscape that we live in, when policies are changing every day, that we're staying abreast of what those changes are and making sure that our schools are in compliance with SEVIS. It's really, really fundamental to what we do. The system is really modern. There's not another system that's built like it. It's a modular system, which means it can integrate with almost anything. We designed it for that. So it really allows a huge amount of flexibility for institutions.
Yeah, that is a great transition into talking about one of the things we're very passionate about at VIA is empowering specifically SIOs with really good data so that they can make data-driven decisions, but they can also present data in a way that showcases the impact they're bringing to the campus.
Sure.
Beyond the, it's great for students. Yes, we know that, but also the economic value, the outcomes for students that they're getting post-graduation, its influence on enrollment, retention, all of those things. Talk to me a little bit about what people can expect from a VIA experience when they're wanting to pull data that helps make their argument of why they should exist.
So first of all, what they can expect from VIA is that VIA is always on. That we are reliable and that it's your data. And we're stewards of your data. So we take compliance and security protocols incredibly seriously. So we not only have your data, it's protected, and then also that you can access it anytime you want with 2 clicks of the mouse. That you can then trend data to understand what changes are so that you can really work on your institutional effectiveness plans on data. I was just talking to a school last night, and he's talking about analyzing his product portfolio and looking at how many students actually went to which programs. And then actually, instead of expanding his portfolio, refining his portfolio, going from 536 programs down to 272 that were the most effective programs he had. He was able to do that with VIA in 25 minutes by looking at it, just by pulling the reports out. It changed his life and made his portfolio a lot more effective, a lot more efficient. And his institution is growing their participation 35% year over year.
Wow.
So it's incredible. The power of data is amazing, but it has to be available to you and it has to be easily for you to get at. And so that's what we do.
As you know, we did some roundtable discussions with a bunch of SIOs talking about data, their challenges with data, how they collect it, how to analyze it, all those things. One of the things I love about VIA, and it's been true its entire career, predating both of us, is that it's built by the international educators who are likely going to use the product.
Yes.
It's in advising, but also bringing those people onto the team because they are the experts in what they do. One of the things I love is that we do build out things in collaboration of the needs of our actual clients, of the schools. What do they need to do their work better? I feel like we've been daydreaming with some SIOs about this SIO portal where they can pull their own data and be able to run real-time reporting that looks beautiful with the help of AI. Talk a little bit about that process of building something new.
Sure. So it's really interesting. We really believe in not building in a box. We build for the community. Give you an example. Last year, we released 157 enhancements to our product. Out of those 157 came from our partners, was insights that we learned from partners and prospective partners that really shapes our entire roadmap in everything we do at VIA. So anything that we build, whether it's an SIO studio, a data studio that helps provide instant insights and trending data, comes from insights that we get from the field. We listen to everything. It's really, really important to what we do. And then really using AI to make better decisions. AI isn't going to replace people. What it's going to do is make us more efficient and be able to trend data faster than we ever could by ourselves.
Yeah. I feel like a common theme in a lot of these conversations, especially when we talk about technology and leveraging technology, it's all about like getting all of us as international educators back to like the real work we signed up to do.
Indeed.
You know, most of us didn't sign up to be like, do pivot tables
Indeed.
or what have you on a spreadsheet or, you know, push papers, so to speak. I'm curious, you know, that's all about a very passion driven, you know, field and industry that we're in. Tell me about your passion for international ed. Like obviously you didn't start in this space, but you had to have something that made you go, I could do that. I could work in a company in that industry. What inspired you about international ed?
What inspires me about international ed is what inspires me about everything in educational technology. It inspires me to make a better world through the students we impact. For me, I'm always student-centric. I came out of college with a vigor and a passion to change our educational systems. And I've spent my last 23 years doing just that. International education is such an amazing opportunity because it unlocks our world. My time that I spent overseas, I spent 3 years in the United Arab Emirates. I learned so much about myself, about other cultures, and came back and made the companies that I partner with better based on that experience. That's what international education does. It allows you to learn how every other country is doing things, process it, synthesize it, and bring it back. We can change our world that way. And we have to. Because if you think about the world in general, one of us isn't as smart as all of us. And by collaborating across borders and breaking down borders, which technology allows us to do, we can really find best practices across the globe and make every educational institution a better.
I have to say for the audience that line, that mantra, one of us isn't as good as all of us, that is not fluff. Dave probably says that in every single meeting I'm in with him. Like you really live by that philosophy, you know, in running your teams, which I just had to point out to everyone that I really appreciate that.
100%. That's how we're always better, right? Is through collaboration. It's not like the more we learn from each other and break down barriers that keep us from collaborating is the better it is. And international education helps us with that, right? And technology is the conduit that connects us. Because here's the thing, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that was almost impossible to collaborate in real time with someone in Pune, India. I do it every day. You couldn't do that. But now with technology, you can. So it feels like you're really connected.
Yeah.
You learn so much.
Yeah. I want to go a little further back, and I'm cheating a little because I know you. I want you to tell me a little bit about your experience with international students in high school.
Yeah, sure.
And because I've heard you tell the story, and I think it's really great. So I'd love to hear more about that international experience, which isn't the traditional way a lot of us came into the field is like going abroad ourselves. Tell me about that, your high school.
So I grew up in a small town in Maine. And I happened to play baseball reasonably well, and I had an opportunity to go to boarding school in northern Maine. And being in my small town, Maine is very homogenized. You can just look at all the demographics that go along with it. If you want to be in Maine, you're going to have one group of people that primarily live there. And you can learn a lot from them. But for me, my whole world was Lewiston, Maine. Then when I went to boarding school, I met people from all over the world and learned so much, learned different languages, learned different technology. I remember when I was in high school, we had a group from Korea that had the most incredible Walkmans back in the days. And they were like hands-free Walkmans. And I was like, that's unbelievable. Like we're using the old school yellow Walkmans, like everything. Like it just made me realize there was a world outside of Lewiston, Maine. It was the most amazing experience. And the most incredible thing is the friends that I met there are still my friends today, 35 years later. It's just incredible. I met people not only people from all over the world, but people from our country. Our country is one of the most diverse places in the world. And my friends are from all different parts of it, whether it's the Lower East Side of Manhattan or Brooklyn or Los Angeles. My friends come from an amazing richness of the fabric of what makes America. And so if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't be the same person today. It broke down every barrier that I possibly had, challenged what I thought, and it was an amazing experience.
Well, and I think what it proves to us as international educators is that, yes, mobility and getting on a plane and going somewhere is very powerful. I'm a product of that.
Indeed.
It was very powerful for me as well. But also, like, going a few miles up the road, and if designed well, and, you know, creating those intercultural interventions, if you will, in a meaningful way. That's what we do in our work. That you don't have to go that far to have a meaningful experience.
No,
right?
you really don't. And live with people and break bread with people.
Yeah.
And it will change your life.
Right.
If you open your mind and you challenge your conventional wisdom that you believe and open yourself up, you will grow so much. You will learn more than you will through books, through others.
Okay. Now we're going to go into our rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and kind of the first thing that comes to your mind and a little context, but we'll do it kind of quick. All right. So tell me about the last book you read and how it has influenced how you see the world.
When Women Ruled the World,
Oh.
which was a fantastic book that actually was a historical context about when women controlled the major powers. So in Egypt and across Rome as well. It was amazing because a lot of that history is hidden.
You always give me the best book recommendations.
That one's excellent.
I mean, because you know I love geopolitical nerdiness.
I do.
Yes,
Primarily
I'm adding
World
it to
War
my
II.
list. Yeah, yes. Okay, so let's talk about solutions. So let's remove any geographic, technological, financial barriers. You can do anything. What's something you would change about the work we do in international ed, or maybe in VIA or technology specifically?
One solution without money, without changing anything. That's hard, Brooke. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I need to think about it.
Yeah, think about it. It's hard. It's a hard question.
That's a good question.
One solution, there's no limit, right? Geography is not a limit. Finances aren't a limit. You have everything you need to do the thing. What's the thing you do?
Oh, that one's easy.
Oh.
What I would do is make international education accessible for all people. So set up a huge scholarship fund that would allow everybody to go overseas and be able to experience enrich educational experiences. If you could break down anything, 100% I would do that with technology that made it easy.
Yeah.
That one to me, I mean, if money is no option, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I came into $1 billion tomorrow, set up a fund to make people be able to cross borders and be able to learn from each other.
Yeah, I like it. Wrapping up, last question. You've had a very interesting career. You've worked in a lot of different spaces, worked all over the world. What's one piece of advice you would give to somebody who is coming up in international ed and they see like more from the business side, if you will, like somebody in your type of role? What advice would you give them to find their way into your position?
Challenge conventional wisdom and don't be afraid to share your opinion. And don't hesitate to debate. If you believe something, argue it and be passionate about what you're doing. But seriously question everything. That's our job as technologists, is to question conventional wisdom. We're not polite people are never going to change the world. And so you have to challenge. That would be my advice.
Yeah, that's great. Dave, thanks for
Thank
sitting
you for
down with
having
me.
me.
I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me do the Via Voices podcast. I'm really excited to make it happen.
We are too. You've done a great job. Thank you so much.